Behind the Attic Wall, Chapter 5. Aunt Lillian's footsteps grew more distant, became whispers, were gone. The building fell silent. Maggie walked to the mirror over the sink. With her little fingers she stretched her lips out as far as they could go, shaping them into a sideways figure 8, a skinny dumbbell, a sliver, a slit. Farther and farther she pulled until the skin on her lower lip cracked and a fine line of blood broke through. Now she brought her face closer and closer to the glass until her reflected eyes jumped together into one brown jelly bean afloat in the middle of her forehead. Ugly, she said. Ugly, 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 and she sat down on the bed. What would happen next? How much longer would she sit here before someone came to get her? Who would come? Some robust girl, probably, better nourished than she, in a brown dress that came just to her knee. She would knock at her door in an hour, 2 hours, saying, "You have to come now," and lead her to a class. But all at once Maggie remembered something. Today was Saturday. There were no classes. There were no special meals, even. Saturday was a quiet day. The older girls went into town on Saturday to the 5 and 10, bringing back bottles of nail polish with names like Pink Grapefruit or Black Orchid, and cards of bobby pins, their wavy bumps all lined up in perfect shiny rows. But the other girls, the girls her age, wandered in ragged groups around the grounds. Radios clamped their ears or stayed in their rooms and combed their hair at the mirror. Maggie went to the window seat and knelt on its bare wood. The garden outside was an immense stretch of grass, and she looked across its reaches for a sign of the returning girls, a row of heads maybe emerging from behind a flower bed, or an indirect blur moving among the trees and separating suddenly into a tangle of arms and legs. But nothing broke the stillness of the scene that hung behind the curtains like the backdrop of a play. Maggie finally turned back to her room. It wasn't quite true what she had shouted to Aunt Lillian, that she didn't play anything. She did play things. She played solitaire with the deck of cards that lay at the bottom of her duffel bag. She played games in her head. She played caretaker. Caretaker was a game she had made up long ago, and she played it almost every day. She played it now while she waited for the girls to return or for someone to come to her door. She was a caretaker in her game, a caretaker of 5 imaginary girls. The backwoods girls, she called them. All poorer, younger, dirtier, and uglier than she was herself. And dumber. They were all newly arrived from some unknown backwoods, and they knew nothing at all of the ordinary things surrounding Maggie's life, of toothbrushes even, or dresser drawers, and it was Maggie's job to explain things to them. "Come here," Maggie called silently, and in an instant all 5 imaginary girls stood around her with their wondering stares. "What's this?" asked one, examining the wooden knobs on the dresser. "It's a drawer," Maggie answered, not aloud but in her head. "Pull on it and it comes out, see, like this. Don't shove each other, there's room for all of you, and you can take turns." "Oh, what's inside?" they all asked at once. "Beautiful things," Maggie answered, and she held up one of the long brown stockings. "Oh, what's that?" "It's a stocking. Stockings are what rich people wear." She held it against her thigh. "To make their legs look beautiful, like mine. Look, they're also able to keep your feet from sticking to your toes. From sticking to your shoes," the backwoods girls answered all at once. "Oh, how wonderful!" Their responses were usually limited to those words, followed by a new question. "What's shoes?" "Shoes are these things I have on my feet with the laces. Look, I'll show you how they work." "Oh, how beautiful, and what's this?" "That's underpants." "What's underpants?" "Don't you even know what underpants are?" Maggie sighed in disgust, as she often did at the backwoods girls. "No, what are they for?" "What do you think they're for, dummy?" And she let the long peach pink legs swing in the air. "Oh, how nice. What's this?" "That's a garter belt," and Maggie dangled the pink rubber buttons in front of the 5 pairs of wandering eyes. "Oh, how wonderful. What's a garter belt?" "It's what rich people wear to hold up their stockings. Look how the garters work." "Oh, lovely. What's this?" "This is a closet." "Oh, what's a closet?" "It's a place to keep clothes. Look at all the clothes I have." "Oh!" the backwoods girls cried out. They were crowded around the row of dresses hanging one beside another on the pole. "How beautiful!" Maggie lifted out the dress of brown wool and held it against her body. "Look how lovely it is," she said. "It was made just for me by a special dressmaker. Here, I'll show you how the buttons work." "Oh!" they cried. "May I try it on? May I? May I? May I?" "No," Maggie said, putting it back in the closet. "You're too skinny for it. It was made for someone better nourished than you." And she began now to unpack her duffel bag, transferring her frayed underwear, her torn socks, and her sweater with the enlarged buttonholes and thin elbows to the dresser drawers. "Oh, what's that?" they asked as Maggie came to her bitten ballpoint pen. "That's a pen," said Maggie. "That's a pen," and Maggie laid it on the writing table in the corner. "Look what happens when I move the point across the paper. See? It makes writing. It's magic. I can make pictures with it. Look, here's a picture of you," and she drew 5 circles with sticks for mouths and O's for eyes. "And it writes names. See? That says Maggie." "Oh, how wonderful! Write my name, too. Write mine, write mine, write mine." "All right, but don't shout. I'll write all your names. This is Mary, this is Kate, Elizabeth, Helen, Anne." She conducted them now, 5 barefoot girls with tattered dresses on their bodies, and wonder in their eyes around the room. "This is a sink. Look, see this silver handle? It's called a faucet. Look what happens when I turn it." A spurt of orange liquid burst from the tiny spout, coughed down the drain, and then turned clear. "Oh, how wonderful! What's this?" "That's a mirror." "Oh, a mirror! Oh, look! There's another room inside and another Maggie. Look, how wonderful!" "No, dummies, that's just a piece of glass, see?" And she rapped it with her knuckles. "Oh, what's this? It's a little arm. Someone is under the bed. It's a little person." "That isn't a person, stupid," Maggie answered. "That's a doll." And she pulled out the pink rubber body from behind the bedspread. "Oh, a doll! What's a doll?" "It's something you play with. Let's pretend it's a real baby, and you take its clothes off, like this." And she lifted the little pink dress, as Aunt Lillian had done, so that the backwoods girls could examine the white underwear with its careful ruffles and tight elastic. "Oh, how wonderful! Show us more." Maggie couldn't remember when she had last held a doll, and the body in her hand now felt strangely light and soft. "Look how it moves its head back and forth," she said, "and its arms. And look, its shoes and socks come off, too, and you can get it all undressed and give it a bath and stuff." But now she had taken all the doll's clothes off and arranged them in a row on her bed. The naked doll lay still in her hands, soft and smooth. "Listen," she whispered, and very slowly she pushed its stomach so that it let out its small cry. "Oh!" the backwoods girls cried out in alarm. "It's hurt!" "No," Maggie said, "it's hungry. It wants its bottle." She looked around the room and finally seized her ballpoint pen. "Here," she said, "look how it drinks," and she put the pen point into the doll's mouth. "Oh, let me try. Let me, let me, let me." "No," Maggie said, "and don't shout. You'll make her cry again." And for a long while she held the doll in her hands, feeding it from her pen. "Now she wants to go to sleep," she said, dressing it again. "No, she doesn't. She wants to cry. Listen, listen to her howl." She pressed the soft rubber bulbs under the doll's pink dress over and over until the cries became a rhythmic wail. "Oh," the backwoods girl said, "she really is hurt. Listen to her holler. Make her stop, make her stop, make her stop." "No," Maggie said, "dolls are dumb," and she pressed the doll's stomach once more, but she finally stopped, dropping the doll to the floor. "Oh, what's this?" Maggie and the backwoods girls were at the closed door now. "It's a door. Look what happens when I turn the knob." Maggie started into the long, dark hall with its rows of doors, heavy and closed on either side. 9 closed doors. What lay behind them? Beds like hers with white spreads and navy blankets folded across the feet. Closets with rows of brown dresses and dresser drawers with long brown stockings and pink garter belts. Unknown girls at the mirror over an orange-stained sink, combing their hair. She led the 5 wandering girls along the walls. The building was totally still, and she walked softly, groping from the little oval light poles that had lit the way when Aunt Lillian had led her to her room. She rested her ears for a moment against the first door, but there was no sound, and she turned the handle. And that's the end of Chapter 5.